Good afternoon to everyone, and thank you very much for being here today. The purpose of today is to showcase and highlight the delegation that recently went to Barranquilla, Colombia for the 2018 CAC Games. We had a team of 4 athletes that went to the games and a host of support staff, including the chef de mission, the president of the Sport Federation and his delegation, and also the technical staff that also accompanied these athletes to the games. So it's not about the Department of Sport or government. We're here to recognize these guys and the great work that they did on their trip to CAC. It's a great achievement that they had the opportunity to participate, and they qualified to participate in these games, and we definitely want to highlight this. We want to highlight them, and we want to show support for what they have done up until this point, and we want to show that as government, Department of Sport, show that we will continue to support their endeavors and their growth in their sport. And we also want to say that and encourage more sports and more athletes to participate and to develop in their sport, knowing that there's a possibility for future developments, there's a possibility for future achievements. So we definitely support what these guys are doing, and I will turn over the podium to Mr. Bell, the president of the St. Maarten Sport Olympic Federation, who will give an overview, synopsis of what happened at the games and how well the athletes did and what took place at the games. And he will give us that synopsis at this point.
Today is not about me. I want to welcome first my athletes here on the table. We're missing 2 of them, still in traffic. I will be speaking a little more later on in our release. I would like to call first the chef of mission, and she's going to give you the information and give you what went up in the traveling and all the preparation towards that. Ms. Paula, please come forward.
Thank you for being here this afternoon. It's a pleasure to be standing here as the chef of mission of the St. Maarten Sport Federation, and also for St. Maarten, representing St. Maarten in the CAC Games. First of all, I am the chef of mission of this delegation. My task was to bring these athletes and the technical team to Barranquilla safely and bring them back home safely. So my mission was accomplished, that I bring them back safely to you guys. And also my task was to make sure everything run in order for them to compete, anything that they need necessary for the athletes to perform at their max. I've been there since the 14th of July until the 5th of August. And from that day, every day, we had meeting every morning. And with my assistant, Donella Pantoflet also, it was a great job, I have to say that. And for St. Maarten, it's a beginning with no end. For St. Maarten, it's the first time we being in the CAC Games as country St. Maarten. And I would like to highlight these athletes that is being here. They are the reason why we are here. If we didn't have them, there is no purpose to be sitting here. So I would like to acknowledge their presence and their hard work to make it and to compete amongst the best of the Caribbean. And I would like to leave them stand up, because it's very important for you guys to understand, if we do not produce these athletes, we have never ever made it this point. Michelangelo Bell, that's the judo athlete. Tamar Thomas, that's our swimming. And the other 2, which is Wilfred Schittig and Mr. Jan Bos from sailing, they are on the way stuck in traffic. So with all this, I want to say thank you to everyone who was part of this great, awesome achievement. And as the director of the CASCU said, it's not about excluding, it's about including. And because St. Maarten is yet not a country independent, They make it the most important for us to be competing as associate member in the CAC Games.
The Department of Sport, in collaboration with the Department of Culture and National Sports Institute, presents the first annual Sport and Creative Industry Open House on August 24th and 25th at the Raul Illich Sports Complex. Friday, August 24th is geared towards primary and secondary schools from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. And on Saturday, August 25th, it will be open to the general public from 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. The first annual Sport and Creative Industry Open House. Don't miss it.
Hi, what's up, St. Maarten? My name is Rene Leverett, and I play baseball. And I have represented St. Maarten in numerous international tournaments and professionally around the world. Sports matters to me because it reveals and develops character. So I challenge the business community to step up for sports and help us rebuild and repair our facilities. I also ask the community to nominate local businesses in your area to take the challenge and step up for sports. Because hashtag sports matters, hashtag are you in?
Because St. Maarten is yet not a country independent, they make it the most important for us to be competing as associate member in the CAC Games. And I would like to emphasize on this one more time. Thank you, and St. Maarten, this is a beginning with no end. And thank you for making this history for St. Maarten. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We had a little issue with the technical coordinator. He cannot make it anymore. Also, we have two persons that is coming late. We have here also the coach of the delegation, leader / coach of the sailing. We have the judo coach there. And the cycling coach had to travel today to, I think, this Grenada to participate in the Caribbean Championships that he had to go, so we couldn't make it. Actually, we was expecting for the meeting to be tomorrow, yesterday, Wednesday. Because of that, I'm going to give you a little rundown, information about the results of the athletes before my whole introduction. We went with 4 athletes. I'm speaking on behalf of the technical coordinator right now. The first participant was sailing. Sailing took part in 4 days, I think, sailing. 4 days sailing, and it was a total of 17 participants. We came in 13th place. Okay, it was hard, it was rough. Those are the information I can give as according to the technical director. We complete all the sailing events that we had to complete, and according to us, for us, we was very satisfied with the results that we get for the first time representing us St. Maarten. I would like to also give Rob for the training and for the preparation as well. And thank you. Maybe the delegation leader would like to say a word? No? Okay. I will continue with swimming. Swimming, actually, the technical coordinator is the technical coordinator and also direct high-performance coach for the swimming. And Shamar participated in two heats, yes, was the butterfly and also the freestyling. Okay, the butterfly was the first on the Monday. Was the first, yes, was the first one that he did. He came in the 6th place with the first dash. He did not qualify, but he's better his time. I cannot tell you that out of my head. It is written, that's why I give him this briefly information. And on the second day, that was on Wednesday, he swing freestyle, and also he came in, I think, in 8th place in the last, but also better his local time here. Okay, one of the things that we would like to say is that despite of the hurricane and everything, we managed still to get him out, because the difficult part was this pool, the 50-meter pool, and we had to get him to train to that extent, to that level, to that standard, because St. Maarten don't have one. And this is one of the things that I will bring in my briefing much more later. After that, we have Michelangelo Bell. Chittick, the cycling. Also, Chitik Cycling was, I would like to say that it was a little hard for him after the Hurricane Louis. His preparation did not go 100%, but we managed to send him in to prepare to Dominican Republic and for him to ride over and continue, because he was very, very down and sad because he lost everything, and he managed still to go. Despite that, Mr. Chitik, the athlete Chitik, did qualify, so it was not replaceable. That's the reason why we couldn't get the other person to send in his place. So we had to continue preparing him in that matter, and he still managed to make it. But according to us, because the competition of the cycling was in Cali and we was in Barranquilla, and he did not make it completely full because he also get in encounter with the whole atmosphere with the toxic, and it was very bad for him, and he had to stop his race after I think 22 kilometers. Okay, so we understand that, and we understand all the situations, so we know now what we have to do towards that. Okay, at last we have Michelangelo for the last one. They came in last, and Michelangelo actually was suffering also injured. Maybe his coach want to explain that. I prefer that his coach speak about this.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Byron Isabia. I'm the trainer coach of Michelangelo Bell. We represent in the 90 kilo in Barranquilla. I think he fought 2 fights. Yes, he fought 2 fights, but in the preparation period that we had, we went to Argentina, where we prepared an international training camp, which we completed very positively. We increased our preparation, and he competed in the Pan American in Peru, where he encountered injuries to his middle finger and his ring finger, and make it difficult for you to grab. And in judo, the kume, what they call it, the grabbing of the opponent is very important for you to complete techniques. And that was the reason that the injury could not heal sufficient, 100% enough, for you to go and compete in the CAC games and come maybe even with medals. So that didn't happen because of the injury. And but we ain't going to stop. We're going to continue. We're going to treat the injuries, and we have still chance to qualify for the Pan American next year in Peru. So that is what we are focusing on. Thank you very much.
The Department of Sport, in collaboration with the Department of Culture and National Sports Institute, presents the first annual Sport and Creative Industry Open House on August 24th and 25th at the Raul Illich Sports Complex. Friday, August 24th is geared towards primary and secondary schools from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. And on Saturday, August 25th, it will be open to the general public from 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. The first annual Sport and Creative Industry Open House. Don't miss it.
Hello, St. Martin. My name is Stephanie Medina, and I play football with the Walichi Women's soccer team. I have represented St. Martin in many different games. For example, the Dutch Caribbean Women's Soccer Cup. I played against Bonaire, Aruba, and Curacao right here in this stadium. Sports matter to me because it makes me happy, it keeps me fit and healthy, and it is very fun. So I asked the business community to take on this challenge and help us rebuild our facilities. And I also asked the community to nominate the local businesses in your area and take on the challenge and step up for sport. Why? Because sports matter. Check out the Department of Sport Facebook page for more information. Hashtag sports matter, hashtag are you in?
From July 18 to August 3rd, St. Martin participated in the 23rd Central American and Caribbean Games. It was a historical moment also for St. Martin, playing among the best athletes in the region. The national team of St. Martin, as we know, it consists of the 4 sports, which is judo, cycling, cycling, aquatics, and sailing. With that, I would like to explain that the national team consisted of before 7 athletes, qualified athletes. Due to the countries from Cuba and Puerto Rico not complying with the CACSU deadline regulations in terms of the athletes' registration, several events from the Central American Games had been canceled. Event out of the 458 games, it was a total of 22 events was canceled. With that saying, the discipline of the sailing was one of them into lightning sailing. This hampered our team, whereby 3 of our athletes could not take part again. Therefore, the team was minimized to only 4 athletes. That was in total 4 persons out of the 4 sports. Of course, it was Jan Bus from sailing, it was Shamar Thomas, Wilfred Chittick, and Michelangelo from judo. Under the leadership of Camille Paula, we had the assistant chef of mission. We have also the technical director, Mr. Theodora Burton. We had a public relation, that was Mr. Joshua Bowers. In the medical team, it was full, completely with the medical team. That was the head of the organization. That was the therapist, Michael Benjamin. And we have also the delegation doctor for St. Maarten was Nahu Mershak. And we had the other therapist, that was Eric Martina. Among them, we had 3 coaches / also delegate. That was the athletic coach was Mr. Burton as well. And the judo coach was Mr. Byron Isebia and Mrs. Carrie Beverly. Byerly, yes. In this, the minister, the head of sport, and the director and the members of the supervisory board were invited to attend the opening ceremony of the CAC Games. The purpose why they were invited was to get a general view of the games and also the Olympic atmosphere and the feeling to acknowledge the historical moment that St. Maarten had been encountering. It was very important that St. Maarten Olympic Federation gets the full support to our sport ministry, from our sport ministry, the sport department, and the sport NSI, as we are moving forward to sport to another level or to another direction. The St. Maarten Olympic Federation have completed the first stepping stone, which means that for the Central American Games, we had a mission, and one of the mission is to reach to the games, and not only reaching, qualified first, prepare and qualified to reach to the game, and that is what we did. And thank for all the supporters that we make it, as how the chef of mission mentioned a while ago, that we complete this task. I want to make a direct statement as the president of the St. Maarten Sport Federation. I am proud to wear this uniform, but this uniform did not came out of the initiative because we want to just make uniform. If it wasn't for the athletes, there were no delegation, there were no traveling, there were no participating. And that's the reason why I am proud, I'm honored to wear this uniform. I would like to just hold 5 minutes to acknowledge Dr. Athlete Boss. Please, you come forward. Thank God you come. See. The other one also called the reaching, but this is where the traffic is. I would like to make a very important statement to the people of St. Maarten and all who are here invited. As president of the St. Maarten Sport Federation, St. Maarten have many talents who did not get the opportunity to participate at these games. There were those who were striving to qualify but did not make it. There are also those who couldn't have provided the necessary opportunities for the athletes to be part of this big event. As you know, there are also leaders of organization who did not make the effort to find a way to make the athlete be part of the qualification matches to the games. Saying that, As we know, we must understand that every athlete must qualify in their sport discipline. There are few who will struggle, but many want the glory. As I say, to obtain glory, we must recognize the pillar of success, which means we have to follow the path. It's just my 5 fingers. One of them is good leadership, good governance, good practice, dedications, and sacrifice. Only then you can see the accomplishments of being success in what we do. Saying this, after going through the process of evaluation, we have a new mission. It's connected with the previous one, and our mission, and committed as well, are to further the development on a high-level, measurable sport development program. The preparation mission will start from 2018 and 2024, which is a 6-year long-term program, with the first implementation of a comprehensive sports program for schools, secondary schools, and primary schools, where we're going to introduce a pilot sports in school. It's very important. The second part is to prepare the qualification for the 2019. We are already doing that, which the coach already says. And as you know, in a pyramid, only the best can go. And it's so difficult to qualify. It's so difficult as well to go to the qualifications of to prepare because of lacking of funds. Even though that we know that IRMA changed a lot for us, but nevertheless, we're going to give up on this. Sports will continue regardless any kind of devastating natural disaster. It's going to continue, and so do we as well. Our third, we're going to seek the world ranking qualification for the 2020 Olympic Games. That is in Japan. That is 2020. Of course, we have to go through the Pan Am, and we still have a few qualifications events to go to before that. And Pan Am is also a direct qualifications to the Olympic Games. On the fourth, we want to host, striving to host, the first International Interscholastic Caribbean Games in 2022 in St. Maarten as host country. On the 3rd of August, before we came, we had a meeting, the St. Maarten Sport Olympic Federation, with the CANOC and also with the CACSU, where the Sports Federation gave a presentation. And one of the presentation was actually to give them all the information and what our standard all as states of the country and what condition we are, what is the problem. And the same thing about the host the games. We asked a petition for us to, a proposal for us to host the first Caribbean championship, we call it Carifta, with 4 to 5 disciplines in sport. The presentation was accepted, and it's only have to be in agreement with the General Assembly meeting, where that the blessings from Mr. Stout, which is the president, and the president of the CACSU, and the president of the CANOC. The CANOC is the Central American and Caribbean Sport Organizations, the CANOC, the CACSU, and the National Olympic Committee of the Caribbean, that is the CANOC. Mr. Keith Joseph wants to do it in St. Maarten, and also it needs to be, of course, approved by the General Assembly in October in Haiti this year. One of the main things that we need to do here is also we need to have this agreed and discussed with our minister, because this is actually one of a great deal, a chance so we can restructure our country, especially with the facilities to host these games, because we are missing the part of getting our facilities in the right direction to speed up. So we have 4 years of time to prepare it, where we're going to seek support from the international organizations and also those other international entity that give funding to develop our country to able to host these sports. So it is already, it depends on our agreement with the minister here, because of course St. Maarten needs to have certain percentage of involvement in funding and also helping preparing the buildings. And this needs to be also in agreement with the Sport Federation and also to be accepted in October 29th in Haiti. And at the last, of course, we have the 2022 Central American and Caribbean Games that is in Panama. And we know that all the doors are open now, and we do not want to go with only 4 or 7 athletes. We are looking for the team sports as well to qualify. We have now all the chance necessary. 4 years is a great start now in advance. We're not going to wait till the last moment. That's why we're kicking off in October. In the month of October, we're going to kick off with the official leadership of taking the task on preparation for 2020. And that is going to go in conjunction, of course, with the sport department and the NSI. And these developments are going to take a lot of time. They're going to take a lot of preparation, and it's going to take a lot of agreement and commitment, as we know the pillar of success where we need to start from. Saying that, I want to close that I would like to thank all the stakeholders, especially the sponsors. I would like to mention our number 1 sponsor is GB. I would like to thank the Nagico Insurance, Princess Juliana International Airport, the Windward Roads, Napa Auto Parts, and the Sport Ministry, as well as NSI. Thank you.
The Department of Sport, in collaboration with the Department of Culture and National Sports Institute, presents the first annual Sport and Creative Industry Open House on August 24th and 25th at the Raul Illich Sports Complex. Friday, August 24th is geared towards primary and secondary schools from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. And on Saturday, August 25th, it will be open to the general public from 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. The first annual Sport and Creative Industry Open House. Don't miss it.
Hello, St. Maarten. My name is Jose Helga and I play basketball. I have organized basketball events in St. Maarten. Sport matters to me because it makes everybody come together in unity. So I challenge the businesses community to step up for sport and help us rebuild and repair our facility. I'm also asking the community to nominate local businesses in your area to take on the challenge and step up for sport because sports matter. Check out the Department of Sports SSN Facebook page for more information. Hashtag Sport Matter, hashtag Are You In?
Telling us about your experiences back in Puerto Rico.
Well, first of all, it was a great honor to participate in the first games that St. Maarten was able to participate in. So thanks to the sports organization, I'm very happy to do that. I participated in 4 other CSC games under the AHO, under the Antilles Hollandaises. So this was a little different, and I thought this was a fantastic honor to be the first one to participate in the first time for St. Maarten. I think it was a wonderful experience to walk under the St. Maarten flag. So outside of the sports itself, it was a wonderful thing to do as being a St. Maartener, which I consider myself after living here for 35 years. And the sports itself, yeah, it is in fact a little bit, of course, and it was a last ad hoc decision that I would go for most of the athletes. And instead of prepare for 4 years like the other athletes, we only had like less than half a year. I only heard in May that I was selected to go or requested to go. So I had very little time to prepare, and well, that shows also compared to the other athletes, the level of fitness and the level of training is a little bit missing compared to the other ones. But the participation itself, I was very happy with my own performance for what I was able to train for and to prepare for this. So it was a wonderful experience for myself and to meet all the people and the athletes from the different countries. And I think we should look for the future for more and more participation, especially like he mentioned, get the team sports involved, because it's a wonderful experience for youth that is involved in sports to take part in these kind of things. Thank you.
In sailing, he was up against, I think it was 5 or 6 Olympic sailors. So the standard was very high. And of those 5 or 6, there was another 4 that were trying to go to the Olympics for 2020. So it wasn't, it was a pretty tough for him, and it was extremely windy and 4 miles out. So Fritz did a very, very good job. He represented St. Martin very well. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Shamar Thomas, and I represented St. Martin for swimming. My experience was very good. I enjoyed it very much. I met a lot of people. I was very happy to represent St. Martin for the first time, being the first swimmer for St. Martin to qualify to go for the CSE Games. I also, enjoyed and experienced the level. The level is very high. I swam against all the swimmers are Olympic swimmers, and it was my first time there. And I only had 2 years preparation, and of course with all the circumstances such as Irma, I think I did pretty well. So I enjoyed it. It was a good experience.
Good afternoon, everyone. Michelangelo Bell, judo. My experience was good. I'm gonna say it's my 3rd CSE Games. Well, judo is different. It's very difficult. To qualify alone is difficult, but I made it. And when you reach into that kind of level of training, it's I'm going to say it's hard, but it's intense, because the pressure that you get, especially to represent your country, is a feeling that I think only I could feel. No one else could feel. But besides the injuries that I had and I compete, I lost, but I also learned that I know that when I'm going up with the best, I gotta go 150 to represent. But it was an honor to represent my country, and I hope that I can encourage more of my people here on the island to join and to go out there to represent.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Wilfred Chittick. I was glad and proud of Bell, proud of everybody for being here. I'm glad that I was to the CXC Games. I didn't do well in my games, but I had a very good experience. I meet a lot of new competitions, and I was proud, and I meet a lot of new people. Everything went good. My training was not sufficient, but everybody made sure that I was trying my best to go, and I make sure that my training is everything will be good, and I thank everybody that are pushing me this far, and I'll try my best to go 150. I'll even go 160, higher than Michael, and try my best.
Yep. Approximately how many training sessions were held for the various athletes prior to making it through to CSE Games?
For high performance training, the session per day is 2, it can be 3, and it requires almost 14 to 16 hours a week, which means it's almost everyday training except Sundays.
And that was for all the athletes?
That was mostly for all the athletes, yes. To also answer you that, the sessions of preparation in the beginnings, in the general preparation of athletes, it takes a lot of preparation to build the necessary muscles, the conditioning, physical conditioning, and also the strength training. Besides that, in the specific training, it takes a lot of repetition as well, and to balance it to the end. And in your peak performance, or in the approximately in the current season, you have to be able to participate in the different events to that level, to the athletes can test themselves, and also for us as coaches to evaluate each and every one of them to actually to better the preparation plan, and to know exactly to measure it towards the game. But of course, certain resources was required, and also everybody knows that after hurricane, before that, funds is the issue. So we go in the other way about that. But I answer your question in that point.
Michelangelo, did he participate in the games? Did he fight in any one of the games, or he was injured before?
He was injured before. Michelangelo, as a coach a while ago, was injured in Argentina. And also he went to the Pan American Games, where that we had the medical team with him, and we tried to leave him. It was with the whole national team, and we tried to let him still compete, and then after we had to stop the fight because we felt that his injured was a little massive, so we didn't want to injure him, so we had to reserve him for the Central American game because that was much more important. That was in Peru. So his Pan American was in Peru, so we stopped that fight so we can able to maintain him and treat him for his injuries, and which we did because he had actually 2 injuries in his knees and his finger.
So he did fight in Colombia?
Yeah, he fight in Colombia. His first match was against Cuba. It was actually, he didn't have no injuries on his knees no more because that was not an issue. But with the Kume, as how the coach explained, when he pulled his finger, gone, he can't grab no more. So he get penalties with his first match, and he lost by penalty because he couldn't attack, because he couldn't even grab. That's the reason we believe that one of the part he couldn't win the first fight, and we still sent him out to the second fight, but he couldn't. So that's the reason. Because normally he's very, very competitive with them, and these are athletes that he already compete before and win before, and so actually that is not an issue. But the point is that this is a learning process as well, because we have the Pan Am. Actually, you have to compete in September here in Dominican Republic again, the whole team. And we're going to cancel that because this is also qualification for the Pan Am, because we're going to give him 3 months for him to prepare together with his teammates and treat him so he can recover 100%.
And the other question was for situation. You said it was he stopped after 20 kilometers because of toxic?
Yeah, because it was pollution, a lot of pollution. He couldn't breathe. One of the things that he had to experience, because Chitik was well prepared in the previous years before, because he prepared in Cuba, and he also raced expedition racing in United States, where we sent him, because we sent him to Cuba, we sent him to Dominican Republic, and we sent him to United States, where he had his full training. With Chitik failed was after the hurricane. I mean, it was drastic for everyone, but his situation was very, very, and it threw him off. We had to talk with him because we already have everything with him, and it was very hard for him, and we understand that, and we supported him because he made it all that way, and then after he tried to do his best, but we know that he was missing the last part.
When you say toxic, I'm wondering...
Pollution. We're talking about pollution. It's actually, you have to walk with mask. And Cali is different from Barranquilla. So the pollution was very high.
I'm thinking in my mind, though, if there are acceptable levels of...
yeah, but what happened as an athlete, yeah, you can go there on vacation. You will see it in the air. It's hazy also as well. The cars, most of them, the smokes that goes high. But what happens when you're there as an athlete and your condition is not up to par, then that will break you. That will break you. And the pollution there, the conditioning on that part, didn't work for him. Any more questions? I want to acknowledge our leader of the medical team, Michael Benjamin. Please. And assistant chef of mission, I have to acknowledge her also. Great team. The secretary of the St. Maarten Sport Olympic Federation, I have to acknowledge him also, Mr. Mirto Bril. Okay, I would also like to acknowledge the other members of the GOC. The GOC is a general organized committee that works hard. I would like to acknowledge also Benders, Mr. Coffee, as well. The chef of mission have something to say?
Because again, I'm going to emphasize that if we do not produce these kind of athletes, we're not going anywhere in the sense of competing on high level. With that, I would like to share a certificate of participation. Wilfred Chitik, And this is a coin from Barranquilla. So as the chef of mission, it's my duty to give everyone who partake in these games the certificate and the coin.
There goes the silver medal.
Michelangelo Bell. Shamar Thomas. And last and not least, Mr. Fritz Voss.
Thank you. As one of the athletes, I like to thank our chef de mission on a very well done mission. It was in Colombia quite a bad organization from higher up, so she had to deal with lots of problems and couldn't organize things the way she wanted, but it was all from higher hand. And she showed great patience and great grace in helping us to do whatever was necessary. So
thank you.
Thank you very much.
And last and not least, because our first time competing as country St. Maarten, this is for St. Maarten.